This is 1680 The Crow, and you're listening to our feature presentation.
Welcome into FTR. I'm your host, Elijah Ford. Hockey has long been Canada's national pastime, with Canadians being captivated by the speed and intensity of the game. Behind the scenes, though, hockey's hard-hitting style lingers upon the athletes that participate.
Reflecting on 8 years as a professional ice hockey player, it's what Daniel Carcillo doesn't recall that troubles him most.
And to be honest, I don't remember the first 5.
He's talking about concussion.
Concussions in hockey have been back in conversation, with Canucks forward Philip Hedl suffering his 5th recorded head injury last Sunday, leaving the future of his career in question. Once just considered to be a part of the game, these hits to the head are now being recognized as complex, potentially life-altering injuries which affect people in ways we do not yet fully understand. These incidents are not exclusive to the highest level of hockey. All throughout Canada, kids and teenagers are starting to understand the potential risks that come with the game, even at a minor level. Evan Kelsch is a former player in the Pacific Junior Hockey League. His junior career was cut short by a series of head trauma incidents which affect his life off the ice to this day. First of all, thank you for taking the time to do this. Appreciate it. So how long have you been playing hockey for, and at what level?
I've been playing hockey for 14 years now, and the level I'm playing at now is just recreational house hockey, but like the highest I played was junior hockey.
Sure. Throughout your career, how many concussions do you think that you've had, and over what time period?
I think I've had around 7 to 8 concussions, and it started when I was around 10 years old. Yeah, so my 6th year of hockey.
Can you describe the first time you realized you had a concussion?
The first time I had a concussion, it felt like my brain was not even in my head. Like I felt like I was I couldn't comprehend sentences properly. I couldn't leave my room because the light hurt my eyes so much. I just felt dizzy constantly.
Did you report your concussion right away? Did you try to keep playing after it?
Yeah, I didn't know I really had a concussion until I told my dad after the game that I felt like I was gonna throw up, and how the ice, the light shining on the ice made it so bright on my eyes that I couldn't even comprehend where I was when I was playing, and so I needed to leave the game. After that, that's how I realized I had a concussion.
Yeah, that'll probably do it. How long did it take you to feel normal again after each of these times?
It got longer each one. So the first time I felt like maybe 2 to 3 weeks until I started practicing again playing, and then by my 4th one, it took me up to a month and a half to sometimes 2 months to fully figure out how to play without being in pain.
How did that affect you? Was that a tough process?
Yeah, it basically going to watch practice while having this huge pain in my head and my eyes feeling like they're being stabbed. It sucked a lot. It was the worst experience ever. So,
did having repeated concussions affect your confidence on the ice at all, you think?
Oh yeah. I'd say my first year junior, I just remember taking one big hit, and after that I just couldn't. I was almost scared to go into the corners of the ice because I was worried about getting hit in the head. Because I had my first year junior was my 5th concussion. And my doctor said to me that you should stop playing after 3. So I was worried if I kept getting them that I could get some sort of CTE or something. So I just got scared to play a bit, and it affected my gameplay.
Once you heard that news that you probably shouldn't be playing. How did you take that advice? Did you immediately think your career was over, or did you think, how do I move forward with this happening?
I didn't really know what to do. I was just kind of like, I didn't understand what he meant by I can't play. But my dad basically said like he'll be fine and he can play. So I was a little nervous after that because I didn't know what else to do.
Hmm.
I mean, I wanted to play. That's all I wanted to do, but I was also nervous that I could suffer brain damage with it. So,
Do you still experience any lingering symptoms from these, or are you kind of all cleared now?
no, I get random eye pain constantly. My eyes don't react very well to the light, so sometimes like my eyes will like just start getting like sharp stabbing pains. My head will sometimes just out of nowhere just start like going like it'll just go into random shocks of pain. Um, yeah, and just like playing hockey, sometimes I still get like a PTSD of like looking like behind me and seeing a guy coming at me because I'm just like I'm worried that they could hit my head. So yeah.
That kind of leads into what I was wondering after that. Like, have your concussions affected how you approach just general physical activity?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Any sort of type of things that could involve my head being hit, I get kind of nervous because I don't want to like getting hit in the head now. Even the slightest hits to the head, they lead to like more severe pain. Like I can just get hit like barely touched to the head, and I'm just feeling like I'm gonna die sometimes. Like it just feels like I'm in so much pain.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Just as somebody who's experienced this for a while, like you described, do you think the awareness around concussions has improved since you started? And looking back, is there anything you would have done differently in the process?
I think like it's definitely like people definitely started to recognize it more. Concussions, they definitely look at it more severely. Um, I still think guys come back way too quick from them for because they want to keep playing, but the long term effects of it are definitely bad. Yeah, like it's like you look in sports now, it's like they all like the NFL has the whole blue tent type stuff. Um, but that's after like multiple people have been found out that they've had CTE and have done some crazy stuff to themselves. So yeah, and then what was the other question?
It was just basically, how did you process through these different recovery returns and,
Oh,
you know,
um, well, like a lot of the process was concussion protocol. Uh, Going to this place where they basically teach you type of how to recover from it better. And it's actually it's mandatory to take after like a certain amount of concussions, from what I remember. Um, so I did go to that. It helped after that concussion, but I still like if I'm like if I'm starting to feel like I'm getting to that phase again where I get my head starting to get sore, my eyes are getting sharp. I usually have to like go to like a dark room and like let my brain reset.
just going back to what you were saying, like you were a junior level hockey player, you were very good. How hard was it knowing that you probably shouldn't be playing at the highest level that you could because of what had happened to you in the past?
Yeah, it was difficult. Just like yeah, I don't know. It was very I was paranoid all through my career playing junior. Just I was known in my first year as a kind of a stay back defenseman, kind of stay in the back of the zone to play defense more. And at that time, I was still scared doing that because there were some guys out there that were 10 times bigger than me that just would kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the next year I was more of a enforcer, and I took some major blows to the head, and that's when I had to finish my career in junior because I took so many punches to the head that it just kind of affected me way too much.
Yeah, I can only imagine. Like, hockey on its face is an inherently dangerous game. Like, it just is. How do you kind of balance your love of the game with the risks associated with head injuries?
Yeah, you kind of have to look at hockey as an escape from the head, and like you kind of just have to forget being in pain for the love of the game. Like you kind of just have to get over your pain to keep playing, because I feel like in every circumstance you're going to be in pain at some point in your career, and you got to get over it. But yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, I don't even know, to be honest. It's difficult to deal with like that. Oh.
Well, I'll just finish with this then. What advice would you give to other players who are experiencing a series of concussions going through hockey, kind of like you did?
Yeah, I'd say don't, like, if a doctor says like you gotta take it down a notch, like take it down a notch, like listen to your doctor, because it's not worth it in the long run. Because like now I'm suffering from memory damage. Like I can barely remember half the things I do. Yeah, the long-term effects of concussions are 10 times worse than the short effects. Like, you may think, oh, I just have a headache, I just have eye pain. It's way more than that. You're going to be having so much long-term effects that you may or may not even be able to comprehend them when you get older. So take it seriously for sure.
Absolutely. Words of wisdom indeed. Thanks so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
Yep,
All right.
of course.
Thank you for tuning in to For the Record. I've been Elijah Ford for BCIT's The Crow.
Hello, and thank you for joining me, Keone Mo, on For the Record. Vancouver is often referred to as Hollywood North. It's been home to countless movie and television productions. Long-running shows like Supernatural and blockbuster hits such as Deadpool have seen Vancouver as their backdrops. In 2023, the BC film and television industry generated $4.9 billion, according to the Vancouver Economic Commission. With such a prominent film and television scene, the city needs local actors to fill roles. But even with such a demand for local talent, actors still have to audition with no guarantee they're going to land that first big role. Ryan Leno is a local actor who has been able to secure roles and landed a spot on the show Family Law on Global. He'll be talking to us about the good and the bad he's faced on his path to landing those auditions. I'm with Ryan now. Tell me about your acting journey from its beginnings to now you've been on Family Law.
Yeah, that's a very interesting question because, growing up in a Filipino household, I think as a Filipino kid, you're so used to performing just because it is part of our culture. Like, I think in the Filipino community, singing, dancing, performing in front of an audience, that's always just kind of baked into our DNA. And you see that, at parties or at events, that's just something that's really ingrained into how we grew up. So I've always loved performing in front of people. And I think the first thing I can really think of that sparked that true love for acting was when I was like 5 years old. I was at this elementary school, and I got assigned a Filipino national hero to do like a monologue for that. And I don't remember exactly what I talked about, but I just remember that feeling of being in front of the parents and performing that, and kind of having that interest and love for, being up there and delivering this monologue. And ever since then, I've kind of just been curious about the entire industry. I also loved watching movies with my dad. Specifically, he was really into movies as well. And my entire family as well. I think it was like a whole family outing where every weekend we would go to the movie theater. And so I just grew up loving the whole artistry of cinema and just being able to see movies at the theater. And so I kind of just told myself one day, like, I would love to be there, be up there on the screen and be able to do that. It just seems so cool. And so when I entered high school, I decided to join the drama department and audition for plays there because, I felt like the theater was kind of the place where I felt like I could truly be myself, which is kind of ironic because when you're performing or you're in you're in a play or you're acting, you're not really playing yourself. But at the same time, I just felt so comfortable being there, and it felt like my home in high school, and I felt like I was authentically myself in many ways there. And yeah, I just continued to act through the theater department there. And then I also was curious about film and TV. And so I spoke with my parents, and I was able to get an agent, and I started auditioning. And I took a long break after high school from acting because, obviously growing up in a Asian household, you kind of have that pressure of, having a backup plan. And so I decided to go to university for other things. I was considering going to law school for a bit, but it was pretty clear that acting was really my true passion. And so I think it was during COVID where I said to myself, no, I'm just going to commit to this 100%. And so I got a new agent. I started auditioning more, and thankfully I was blessed with, some opportunities. And yeah, I've just been kind of working hard at it and auditioning and trying to survive in the industry because, yeah, it's a tough dream to have. But, it's one of those things that when you're an actor, it's the only thing that you can really focus on. And it's just nothing else feels right. Like being an actor is the only path for you, and you kind of just have to keep going at it. But yeah, and here I am now and trying to do my best at keeping my sanity, but at the same time, still enjoying the process. And I don't regret ever considering anything else. Like I think this is the main path for me, and I'm excited to see what's in store in the future.
As an actor in Vancouver, what kind of struggles have you had to face?
I think the biggest thing that obviously every actor faces is the fact that there's no consistency with the industry. It's always an up and down trajectory. And, when, you kind of, any sort of industry, you kind of have a set plan of, okay, you're going to graduate from school, apply to these jobs, and then you're kind of set for the remainder of your career. But with acting, I feel like it is such a tumultuous industry where you don't know whether one year you're going to book these many jobs and then the following year you could have no jobs. And because it is so fleeting in many ways, and it's always changing and things are shifting in what the industry is looking for, you can't always rely on it for a stable financial income. And so you really have to be doing it because you love the actual craft and the actual process, and you enjoy being able to create when you do get the opportunity to, and also just kind of finding ways to create when you're not necessarily working a union job or anything. You kind of have to find ways outside of that. So I think that's the biggest challenge, I would say, is kind of dealing with the patience of, finding the next job and being resilient regardless of the lack of opportunities. And I think finding a way to be able to let that creative outlet still be fulfilled, whether that's writing your own work or collaborating with other artists in the industry, and just being able to fulfill that part of yourself. And so it is a very self-sustaining career, and you really just have to make sure that this is what you want, because there's always that saying that if you could be anything else besides being an actor and you have an answer to that question, you might as well just pick that other route, because being an actor can be very heartbreaking in many ways, but also I think very fulfilling. And so there is that balance that you have to navigate.
What do you think have been some of your successes in your acting career?
I think for me, a big success that I can really attribute to, where I felt like I learned a lot, was I was able to book a recurring role in a Canadian show called Family Law. And during that time, I felt that was the biggest role that I've booked at that point in my life. And it was such a big shift in my career trajectory, because it allowed me to really see what it's like to be part of a show in a regular capacity, and allowed me to be able to work with a lot of very talented actors in the Vancouver film industry. And I always tell people that felt like almost my film school in many ways, because I was able to educate myself on being on set. And at that point, I had only been on set a couple times. And so there was so much about it that I had to learn. And also just working with people who are at the high caliber of their career, you really pick up a lot of things and learn from them. And, just kind of learning also how to operate in a film set with as much grace and as much kindness to the other cast and crew. I learned that a lot from the cast and crew I got to work with. And so, I think that's a big highlight in my career so far, is being part of that group of people and being part of that show, because I feel like I was able to not only work on my craft and really practice my skills and, be regularly working on my acting ability, but also just learning the nuances of being on a film set and educating myself on that side as well. And so that was a big success I can really point to. And another thing recently that I feel I found a lot of joy in is I got to do this Filipino short film called 3 Ates in a Wedding. And that was a full Filipino cast and crew. And it was really fulfilling to be able to work with people from the Filipino community. And it just felt so at home to be able to really tell a story that was authentically Filipino and, really tap into the culture. And I found that I developed a lot of really real friendships there, and got to be able to, that's something I've always dreamed about, was collaborating with more Filipino artists in the Vancouver film industry, because there is a small group of us. And I feel like there should be more opportunities for us to be able to, work together and create new work together. And so I really found that experience so great, because, I got to, keep great relationships with them and find ways to be able to see what else is in store for all of us. So, writing together. We also were able to attend a Filipino film festival together, because the short that we were a part of was entered in that. And that's also been a huge success in my career so far, because I think it really allowed me to tap into my culture and also create new bonds with the other Filipino artists that are here in Vancouver.
And what's next for you? What do you hope to do in the future?
I don't know if I can necessarily have the answer to that, but I think for me, I would love to just continue collaborating, like I said, with the relationships that I've already built in the industry. So I'm actually, writing a couple things with some friends that I made at this Filipino short. So just creating new projects with them. So I'm excited about that. I'm also just continuing to audition, and hopefully more opportunities and roles will come my way. And if we're talking specifics of projects that I would love to do, I always tell people I would, something I'm trying to manifest is a horror film. I'm a huge horror junkie, so that would be great. I also love anything that I think would allow me to really tap into new skill sets that I haven't done before, whether that's something a bit more darker in tone, or maybe I would love to do like something that involves stunts, or like something with like action sequences, like things that I'm always looking to do things that I've never done before. And so I would love to just completely be immersed in a world that, that's the thing. I feel like maybe the answer is like, I can't even put into words yet, because I would love to do something where I can't even fathom or imagine, because I just don't have the knowledge for it. Because I'm always looking to learn and pick up new skills and new knowledge about filmmaking in general. So anything that will challenge me and put me in a place where I'm taking something new in. So I'm excited. I'm just, continuing to audition, continuing to try to create new work, and experiencing the whole journey of what it's like to be an actor here. And I'm excited.
This was For the Record, where we looked at the life and times of Vancouver actor Ryan Lino. I'm Keone Mo for BCIT's The Crow.